What's up, y'all? And welcome back to AABTV, better known as Authentically RGB TV. I am your girl, Audrey B. And welcome to my channel. Thank y'all for the birthday wishes last week. Like I said, I'm 37. My God. But that's not what we're here for. We are here to talk a little bit about our favorite show, my favorite show, your favorite show, America's favorite show, Abbott Elementary. So let's get into the video. So I won't be before you long. But basically I feel like this whole entire episode was more so about communication. Communication goes a long way. So we first get a look into the day or the week with Greg being a substitute for, I believe he said, the history teacher, but it's like younger kids, so I want to say kindergarten or first grade. And so he's talking about having a classics or old school playlist, right? And the kids are throwing out things like Lil Wayne, a Millie, Umbrella by Rihanna, In the Club, 50 Cent. And he, like me, is like, hold up, what you mean? That's a classic. Those are from the mid 2000s, the early 2000s. Like, them people are in their 30s. And the little boy was like, I was born in 2019. And I'm like, that's old to them. It's old to even my nieces and nephews and cousins who was born in the early 2000s. So it's crazy to think, and I don't know if y'all like me, it's crazy to think that our music of our teens and preteen years are becoming the music that these artists are now using as samples and stuff, y'all. It's crazy. And so then we get to another scene, and this was basically the gist of the episode, because the episode was entitled Books. So our girl Ava is in the library. She's returning a book. And while she's talking to the librarian, and I want to say that Barb is in there as well, Crystal, who is a VP of the PTA, I believe, when she comes in because she's supposed to be there to volunteer or whatever, and they're talking about this particular book that everybody seems to love. And I think it's kind of like their Abbott Elementary's play on like how people were so like head over heels for Harry Potter. But this particular book is called The Sassy Wizard Kid. So it's a black boy, got all his black, or should I say AAVE, is that what it is? All the slang and the way that we talk and you know, stuff that, you know, just black culture is just all wrapped up into this book. And so Crystal is upset at the fact that the book is even in the library, let alone that the kids are checking it out, the teachers know about it, and they're like, girl, why are you tripping? And she's like, I'm a Christian, I don't want my daughter reading no books about no wizards. And you know, that's what everybody was saying when Harry Potter and them came out, right? And so she's like, look, y'all need to do something about this book. I'm gonna go to the district if y'all don't. I don't want this book in this school. So they looking at each other all puzzled, like, what? So because Ava says that she's already in hot water with the district, she's like, I don't have no other choice but to ban the book. And so when she comes up with that idea, our favorite ex, Tariq, pops up in the office, going off on them in his very Tariq way, talking about they need to put the book back because that's his son's favorite book to read to him at bedtime. I'm like, this man is out of his mind. And if he doesn't, if they don't put the book back, it's gonna be a problem. And he's the P in the PTA, so they better listen to him, right? So Ava and Barb and the librarian are just like over it, because Barb is like, that's why we shouldn't let the parents dictate what we put in the library, because they be doing too much. Let these kids read what they want to read, you know, at least they're interested in books. And so Ava is kind of conflicted on what to do until she comes up with a plan to basically have a a way for Tariq to be happy and for Crystal to be happy. And unbeknownst to Crystal, she done came up with like a little hiding spot for these books, right? And so they're all in the library and everything is peachy, or so they think, until Crystal shows up, and a little boy who always got something to say. I need to learn this little boy's name, but he be ratting people out. He be throwing jokes on people all the time. So he ratted them out on what they were doing with these books. And so she found it, and she was like, who put you up to this? And Tariq pops up, right? And he's like, I did. And so they're going back and forth about the fact that she don't want the book, but he wants the book in there. And then they both decide that it's no longer their issue. It's Barb and the librarian and Ava's issue. And if they don't come up with a plan, they just throwing them all type of threats, right? They're gonna go to the dishes, they're gonna go to the news, they're gonna do all of this stuff. And they're like, look, y'all are really getting on my last nerve. And also, while all of that is going on, Miss Melissa is in the office doing some paperwork or whatever. And speaking of another ex, her ex man, the vending machine guy, I think his name is Gary, he pops up and she's like, hey, nice to see you, what's up, how you been? And he's like, I've been avoiding you because you broke my heart, because I believe he wanted to marry her or whatever. And she wasn't ready for no relationship. And so she's like, really? And then he said, I did come finally to let you know that I'm getting married. So he's engaged. And I was like, oh, I was gagged, right? And so she was like, oh, alrighty. Congratulations. I'm happy for you. This is what I wanted for you. And he's like, and I also want to know if you want to come to my wedding. Would y'all go to y'all ex's wedding? If y'all was cordial, would you go? And you wasn't even in a relationship, would you go? Okay, let's bring it back. So she is like, oh sure, but let me know, is she cute? Is she look better than me? And he's like, I ain't even about to go there with you, right? So her and Jacob talk later on in the episode, and he's like, so who you gonna bring? And she's like, I'm gonna bring the chief. Y'all know that she messed with the firefighter guy. And so because she didn't want to be in a relationship with Gary, she decided that she wanted to just keep it cute and casual with this firefighter or this fire chief. And so she's like, I'm gonna ask him, I'm pretty sure he's gonna go with me. So she asks, and homeboy's like, I can't make it, I'm not gonna be able to, I'm gonna go to the symphony with whatever. And she's like, okay, cool, just playing it off. But for real, her feelings was hurt. And I was like, that's the problem. We cannot be out here saying things or agreeing to things that we know we don't want. That girl knows she wanted a man. She knows she wanted a committed relationship. And she thought that she was running the whole shebang. She thought that because of what she said she wanted, that everything was going to be, basically all on her terms. Until her terms turned on her and had her face all on the floor. So she gets to school, she's going off. And Barb and Jacob is like, what is wrong with you? And she's going off on everything from the 70s, the 76ers, the Mets, just any little thing you can think of, she's going off. And basically Barb is like, you need to chill, tell me what's going on. So she lets her know what was happening, and Barbara's like, oh, it looked like somebody want to go steady. It looked like somebody wants to be loved. It looked like somebody want to be in a relationship, and you wanted to be with the chief. And she's like, yeah, I think you're right. And so Jacob is like, so what you gonna do, boo-boo? What you gonna do? And so she comes up with a plan, unbeknownst to all of us who were watching. And she brought Mr. Johnson along for the ride. And then Mr. Gregory Eddy over here looking for a job. I'm like, why is he on LinkedIn? And Janine asked the same question, right? And Jacob was like, if you leave, oh my God, it's going to be hell to pay, basically. And so he's like, no, he's in a relationship, rent's going up like everything else in the world, so I need to get a second job. And that's what he's looking for. And so they're supportive Janine is very, very supportive of her man, and I thought that was so cute. And she kept asking, you know, how's the job search going? And he's like, oh, I filled out this application here, I filled out this application there, I haven't heard nothing back. And then Mr. Johnson overhears their conversation, and he's like, you should do rideshare. And he's like, negative, I got a master's degree. Like, he was just so, he said that a couple of times, like, I got a master's degree, I'm this and I'm that. And very prideful and a little arrogant for him to be needing some money. And because Mr. Johnson even was like, you too good for rideshare, but you need money, right? What you mean? So I was like, you know what, that's right. And I ain't even gonna stun y'all, I done thought about doing that too, and DoorDash, all of that stuff. But then I got a little fearful because people was out here crazy. But anyway, so he just thought he was too overqualified for a lot of things, but he still was filling out applications. But those applications he was just taking L's all across the board, until Janine wanted to know if they were still on to go get their couples pictures done. And I wanted to see those couple pictures too. That would have been really cute in the episode. But he was like, I can't, I got a job. And she's like, oh my gosh, again being the supportive boo that she is. And she's like, I'm so happy, you know. And Mr. Johnson's like, well, congratulations and all the other stuff. And so they're like, is it at the gym, you know? And he's like, yeah. And so Mr. Johnson throws a couple of jokes out there talking about he wants to get a free membership so he can stay getting buffed up. And I was like, oh my gosh. But Janine, she was like, yay, like, my man got a job, I'm so proud of you, and all of this other stuff. So while they were all chit-chatting or whatever, there's a student that goes into Ava's office, and he was like, what should I do with this book? And she's like, I don't know. And then he's like, well, the library's locked up, like, it's locked, nobody can get in. She's like, what are you talking about? So she goes in, her and Barb and the librarian and another teacher are out there talking, and she's like, look, somebody needs to come up with a plan before I open this library back up, because I'm so sick of the threats, I'm tired of the parents going back and forth, it's getting on my last nerve. So they did not want to do it, but they did. So they decided to throw a PTA meeting and invite all the parents and the other teachers and all of that stuff to get everybody on one accord so that they can figure out what they're going to do about this Sassy Wizard Kid book or whatever. So this entire PTA meeting is going on, and it's just like chaos, just chaos. And why is it chaos? It's because nobody is communicating. Everybody just going back and forth. Like Barb said early on in the episode, they sounded like kids. Nobody could come to no type of agreement. They was throwing out other books that they think should be banned, or books that should be added. And again, Crystal is just like, I don't want this book because I'm a Christian. I don't want my daughter having nothing to do with wizardry. And I also don't like the fact that the little sassy wizard kid be talking crazy and is teaching kids to be disrespectful. So everybody's going back and forth with that as well. So in the meantime, because it's after school, everybody hungry or whatever, Tariq done ordered some pizza. And he ain't got time to be going back and forth with the pizza guy, because he has to, you know, throw his opinions out there and be the head of the PTA, right? And so he goes up to Janine and asks for her help and gives her his phone and is like, you know, this is the pizza guy. He's refusing to come in. Can you handle this for me? And she's like, sure. And so she's going back and forth texting this guy like, come in. He's like, no, meet me here, meet me there. And she's like talking to Jacob like, what the heck is going on? And so they are just, like I said, going back and forth, just communication just off, and everybody is frustrated. So then all of a sudden we hear the fire alarm go off, and Jacob looks at Melissa looks at Jacob, and he's like, oh, you are sneaky, but I love it. And your girl done, like I said, had Mr. Johnson with her to devise a plan to get the chief there so that she could ask him out. And he comes and she goes out there and he's already up on game, and they make everything official. And it was very cute. It was very cute. And I was just like, girl, you should have just talked to him anyway. Communication is key. And then, you guys, to wrap up the episode, as Janine is walking down the hallway after all the mess with the fire alarm and stuff, she talks to Mr. Johnson. He's like, you better get that pizza man and bring me my stuff for he see how ugly I can get, basically. So she's like, hey, like, who are you? Then you see this person, their face is hidden with all these pizza boxes stacked in front, and he's avoiding her seeing the face. And then she finally like tricks him out or whatever, and of course we all know it was Greg. And she's like, what? So this is your new job? She was pretty bummed out and disappointed that he decided that he was gonna lie to her and he didn't keep it real with her. And she was just like, why are you ashamed? And he was just like, because first of all, I was very prideful. I was very arrogant at the fact that I was too overqualified for jobs and looking down on jobs. But at the end of the day, I just needed my money. And she's like, look, it's an honest job. Like, there's things that you have to pay for. Like, there's nothing to be ashamed of. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. And he's like, you know what, you're right. He was like, basically like apologizing for lying to her and never do it again. Until we find out that he also took on a job as a Uber or a Lyft or rideshare, so to say. Because the guy came in like, hey, I need to go to the airport. Like, what's taking you so long? And Mr. Johnson was looking at him like, told you went too good. And then, to sum up the PTA meeting, everybody finally was able to come to the conclusion that they was going to keep the book, because Ava let it be known that there are life lessons that can be taught with this book. And so that did change Crystal's mind. And she was like, oh, really? I thought it was just disrespectful, like I said before. And she was just like, well, if it's teaching life lessons, like, I'm gonna get into it too. I want to learn more about it. I want my daughter to read it. And like Barb said, if you don't want your daughter to behave in a certain type of way, talk to her, communicate with her and let her know. And she was like, just like we're doing now in this meeting, instead of going back and forth and arguing, talk to each other. And I said, I know that, right? Especially because, I mean, at the end of the day, these kids need to be reading something, right? And then at the end, the librarian is reading the last few pages of The Sassy Wizard Kid, and Jacob is in there being an ally, being seen and not heard. The kids is like, okay, y'all doing too much, let's go. But they had to finish it, and everybody was happy at the end of the day. And Melissa found love. The kids got to keep their favorite book. The teachers got to keep the favorite book. Greg got a job. It's just, everybody was happy at the end of the day. They were satisfied with it. Like I said, all anybody had to do was communicate and talk to each other. Just listen and work it out together. Right. And that was pretty much it, guys. I know I'll be going fast because I'm be driving on my way home trying to get this stuff out for you guys. We got a few more episodes left, y'all. I'm excited. And speaking of episodes, or speaking of shows, if you guys watch Hulu, have y'all seen Paradise with Sterling K. Brown and a whole lot of other people? If y'all are not on Paradise, get on it, because a season 2 is coming, and I believe they said that season 1 is going to be on like one of the local channels like ABC or CBS starting in April. Y'all, this show is so good, and it's not even a show that I thought that I would be able to like sit down and really get into, but the lady who does my hair, she got me hooked, and then I got somebody else hooked, and we sat there and we binge watched so many episodes. It's only 8, but they're so good. Some are hours, some are 45-minute longs, but it's really good. It makes you, it's suspenseful. It's kind of like, what if? It's just so good. The acting, the plot, all of it is great. So again, it's Paradise on Hulu. And also make sure if you haven't watched this episode of Abbott that y'all watch it on Hulu as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all go. I thank you for watching. I do. I appreciate you. And I will see you guys next week. Peace.